Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I still have epoxy migraine, so if you follow me on any of my other social media outlets you might know that I've had this yoke for like going on 4 days now, so I wanted to do something that wouldn't be too labour intensive for this video, and I don't want to really be sitting in front of the window for too long. So basically I decided to do the how to cook or bake your makeup video because I got a good few people asking me to do it since I did my how to strobing video. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with baking or cooking your face, it's basically another trend borrowed from drag queens, and what it is applying how do I put this? Okay, so you apply your liquid, your concealer, your cream products first, and then before you set your face with powder, what you do is you apply a light or a highlighted, but usually just a lighter matte powder to the high points of your face. So like underneath your eyes, anywhere you want to highlight basically. So like between your eyes, like kind of in this little triangle part of the forehead, underneath here, up along to the side of the temples, Cupid's bow, chin, and underneath your contour, because it will help your contour stick out even more. And basically what you do is you just apply your powder, loose powder, liberally there, and with a damp sponge is the best way to do it as well. And then you just let it sit on the face for like 10 to 15 minutes. And the reason it's called cooking or baking is because the heat from your face will literally kind of melt the powder into your skin and make it a little bit more skin-like rather than powdery looking on your face. And then once you kind of knock that off after the 10 or 15 minutes, it really gives a beautiful kind of airbrushed look to the skin, and that's what I'm showing you how to do today. Now the cons are, if you're like particularly dry or you hate a powdery look, it's not going to suit you, you're not going to love it. It does set under eye concealer pretty well, but if you are very dry and crepey already underneath the eye, it won't suit you. So if you do want to try it but you don't maybe have the skin that would suit for underneath the eye, I would just avoid doing that area. Maybe do kind of the top of the cheekbones up, but besides that it's a grand wee thing to give a go to. Now another thing I'd say is that most people won't have 10 or 15 minutes to apply their makeup every morning, so it would just be more for a special occasion, for photo shoots or whatever. And then the pros are that it really does give a really lovely airbrushed look to the skin, and it really sets everything as well. I mean, once your like face has been cooking or baking or whatever you want to call it for that 10-15 minutes, any liquids or creams that were underneath the powder are not going to budge, because you know they're stuck there for the day. It does really set very well. And one thing I saw that wasn't really discussed much in other videos about the subject is what to do with the rest of your face. So basically what I did, and you'll see it here in the demo, is that I just very lightly put a matte powder everywhere else after I had cooked or baked the highlights. So that's basically it in a nutshell. It's a grand trend, not new, but it's new-ish, I suppose, on the blogosphere. I think it's been around for a while longer than strobing was, but a few of you wanted to see my take on it or see what it's about or whatever. So yeah, just keep watching to see my wee demo on it, and if you've got any questions, as usual, leave them below for me. Cheers guys! Okay, so I've already applied my foundation, concealer, and a little bit of cream contour. That's what I'm trying to say, and a little bit of cream contour. So if you're wondering what is on my face, I used the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum in my beloved number 51. Love this stuff. Then I used a new concealer to me, which is the Naked Skin concealer by Urban Decay. Now this is the lightest one in Fair Neutral. Could be like a teeny bit too light. I think it's very light looking under my eyes, but I'm enjoying the texture of it. And then I used my Illamasqua Hollow Pigment for a very light contour. You can skip the contour if you want, because the whole idea of baking the face is to kind of do a reverse or create a reverse contour, kind of in the same vein as strobing, but obviously in a totally different way. So what I'm going to do now is apply some powder. Now definitely make sure that the powder you apply is either like half a shade to a shade lighter than your own skin if you want it to show up, because it is supposed to kind of highlight. So I'm going to go with this Fardell powder. This is 507, and this is a really light not white powder. So it's that lovely light kind of beigey colour. This I got in Screen Face years ago. Whoa! Anywho, yeah, I got that in Screen Face years ago, and I actually have some decanted into here, so I'm going to work or use it from here. I know that's a bit daft because it's in the other one as well, but I have some powders in these wee things because it's handy to bring them in the kit. So that's Fardell 507. Now the trick with this is really to apply it with a damp sponge. It's just that it gives a little bit more of a silky finish to the powder, kind of a less powdery finish. So what I'm going to do is pick up a little bit of the loose powder, and loose seems to be the way to go with this trend. And what you do is apply it liberally, apply plenty of it underneath the eye area particularly. And I have to say, using a wet sponge or a damp sponge does automatically make it look very, very smooth. Then apply some to the chin and basically anywhere you want to highlight. Apply some to my Cupid's bow. Although that's kind of hard to do with such a big sponge. A little bit in between my brows and then just there on my forehead, not too high up. Then another place people seem to be mental for applying it is here underneath the contour. So I'm going to try and do that in a straight line. So that seems to be the trick to it. And obviously try and make it even both sides. Sorry, just turn down the light there for you because it was a bit bright. And then what I'm going to do is use this little tip to apply it, try and be careful enough, to the center of my nose. Because the idea is to make my nose slimmer and not wider. And then once you kind of have it all down, if there's anywhere you want to apply a little bit more, bang away. And now we wait. So I'm going to time 10 minutes on my phone. It is now 12:54. Yeah, so we'll come back in 10 minutes and then I'm going to tap off any excess and then we'll deal with setting the rest of the face as well. And it is now just 4 minutes past 1, if you can see that there. So the trick with this is to just tap off the excess without buffing in, which would be very hard to do when you're just so used to buffing in, because that's what I tend to do. I tend to buff the crap out of my powder. So what I'm going to do is literally just flick your brush over where the powder is. And I'm going very lightly over where the powder is as well. But, I mean, you don't have to worry about taking it all off or anything, because that's the whole point, is that the heat of your skin will have kind of like sucked it in or helped it blend in with the skin. And there you go, you can kind of see that it does strengthen up the look of the contour there. Probably a little bit more linear than I personally would like to go for. So, but anyhow, as I was mentioning about, what's the word I'm looking for, setting the rest of the face, what I would do is go for a powder that's like still light, but just not very, very, very light. That will just like set without leaving any kind of colour. And I just lightly go around the rest of my face. Like wherever else I would just need to set normally, like the sides of my nose and just around the top of my forehead and that. Again, you don't want to go too heavy. But that's the idea behind cooking or baking your face anyhow. I think some people would go for a brighter powder. For me, I'd have to go for something almost sparkly for it to be like really stand out, obviously because I'm so fair. So I think the darker your skin, or the more medium to dark your skin is, the, excuse the lines on my eyes, the more pop, the more it will pop on the skin, because there'll be more of a contrast. But I mean, I think you can still kind of see it on my skin. I hope that gave you an idea of how this works anyhow. I don't love it personally because I'm not a big fan of having a ton of powder on my face. I just don't love the look of it or the feel of it, and I just feel it doesn't really sit very, very well on my under eye area, as it can be a little bit dry anyhow. But other people swear by it, so there you go. So there's no harm in trying it out if you haven't tried it before.